Summertime's coming upon us, and in the horse world means a lot of heat. Horses have hair all over them, and man, do they get hot. And it doesn't matter if it's a trail horse, show horse, rope horse, or barrel horse. We got to deal sometimes with heat stroke in the summertime. Is that right, Dr. Mike?
Alan, that's exactly right. It's more common than the average person thinks about.
Well, first of all, what is heat stroke? What causes it?
Well, heat stroke, just like in people, when we get too hot, we're overheated for a number of reasons. We can be in the high humidity, southeastern United States, high temperatures, either outside, we could be in a stall or a horse trailer, or exposure to the direct sunlight for long periods of time. All those things can lead to heat stroke.
Now, we talked about the show horses and trail horses. Do horses have to be working to suffer heat stroke?
No, they do not. They can be standing in that trailer while you're sitting there in traffic in Atlanta or anywhere and be burning up. Heat stroke is a serious thing that can happen to your horse.
And with all of the road construction that goes on throughout this country, sometime or another you're going to be stuck on that highway in 100-degree heat, and that makes it tough. How am I going to know when my horse is starting to suffer some heat stroke?
Well, one of the things you're going to see is everybody knows their horse, but the most common thing is they're just going to be distressed. When you look at them and you look in their eyes, you know something's wrong. Now, they're going to be things like sweating, profuse sweating. You know how they get that foamy sweat on them. Now, sometimes they'll even break with dry rear. They got loose stool about them. They look just completely stressed. And you know, put a thermometer in the back end of your horse, see what the temperature is, and you're going to see this animal suffering from heat stroke.
Now, when you talk about the horse coming from the heat stroke and then having loose stool, what causes that? Just the stress?
Just the actual stress. The body's overwhelmed, and this animal starts to get stressed. And again, one of the things they'll do is start defecating. It gets to be real loose stool. These horses are not urinating. They're trying to conserve water, and they get extremely stressed.
Now, what is it that we can do to ward off the heat stroke? Keep it away.
The most important thing is just common sense things, just like for us. First of all, let your horse have enough to drink. Make sure that if you're hauling in a trailer, a big fancy horse trailer, I see them all the time, they're all closed up. Have some ventilation. Have some doors open for this air coming in there. And if you can, put some fans in those trailers so they're moving the air, especially if you think you're going to live in a congested area like Atlanta or San Diego, wherever, that traffic's an issue. Make sure you got fans that is going to move air throughout the trailer. Don't have blankets on them when they don't need to be blanketing during the wintertime. I see that sometimes. These horses can get hot too. Now the other thing, if you're at a barrel racing or you're showing, don't have your horse tied to the side of the trailer standing out there in 100-degree heat. Make sure this horse has some shade. It's easy enough to do. And make sure they have the option to get cool and adequate water intake.
Well, let me ask you this. Several times during my lifetime of dealing with horses, I've always heard that they will not eat going down the road, they will not drink. But I for one, believe they do, because I do it. I've got one of those trailers that has the feed manger in front. It's got the little drain hole, and I get one of those boat plugs. And I fill up that hole and fill up that manger with water, and when I get to where I'm going, the water's almost going. I don't know if it's all sloshed out, but can a horse drink while he's going down the road?
Yes, a horse can drink while he's going down the road, and that's actually an excellent idea, Alan. And people do it quite frequently. When we're traveling, we like to travel about 100, 150 miles, and we'll stop for a few minutes, let the horses drink. And if they got geldings on there, they've got to stretch out a little bit to urinate, let them urinate, and then make sure you offer everybody water. The most common trouble that we run into is trying to get those horses to drink water that's not from home.
Exactly right. What are some of the things that we can do to make sure a horse is going to drink on the road with the different flavors of waters across the country?
Well, you just want to start putting some Coca-Cola, apple cider, apple juice, something in that water that can mask that smell of that city water, because mine are country horses, and that when they come there, they'll continually drink. That's what we're looking at. You can also put the old teaspoon of salt in the feed to help them increase that water intake.
So spike their water.
Spike the water.
There you have it. Stay away from heat stroke this summer.